Hello and welcome. Today is Saturday, the 24th day of June 2017. Let's continue on within the altcoins as we move on chronologically, moving N through a few letters. Anyway, there's a lot of codes in the end, so I won't go through too many in this video. There will definitely be a third and maybe even a fourth. It's like spending a little bit of time with me as I'm going through the charts and each one individually, how I see the analysis. And I want to do this because, just like the Aerosmith song, I don't want to miss a thing, because how many people missed this breakout on Nodus coin? Well, we can see that this 14 level got taken out and a huge move. So I don't want to chase this now. It's now at an area of former resistance. Now these numbers that are a little bit scrunchy, that gets fixed in a little bit, but I can still see the numbers that I need for what the cases do. However, within this, it's broken this resistance up to where you would think you would sell, or at least the first place. If you were to buy in here, and I'm stating, where do I sell? Well, the first spot is somewhere near previous high, which is where it went to. Then maybe this bigger high, and then of course where you would consider an upside target. But man, I'm going to do multiple time frames within this. I got three different time frames for NOT, so let's continue going further. And the 4-hour chart, it's really something I don't want to chase. I want to see this settle down a bit before I take any action, at least based on these two time frames. Let's move this onto the weekly. And we can see on this that it's near the bottom end of this range after a huge fall. I know it's hard to read these numbers, but this is 16, we'll say 0016 to quad 04. Huge fall. Now it's 0002. Try to sound a bit like James Bond, maybe a bit. I'm not going 007, I'll tell you that. Although it's a situation where it's just breaking out of this, trying to get some ground. But I mean, there's some big moves that are possible. We can see earlier in 2016 how big of a pop there was that are within this. So definitely a very choppy code, to say the least. Let's move on to NAV coin on the weekly time frame. Then we'll switch to the daily. But it's breaking well outside of this 18 average now, starting to break out above it. I'm long on this because I like its pattern, and I think that it's not only going to be able to reach this high, that's like child's play or an easy level. First level of Super Mario Brothers, come on, give me a challenge. Or second level, whatever, an easy boss at the end of a video game is how I look at that. But I want to face a more difficult boss. And those who know video games, those are the ones at the tough matches at the very end that you might lose to. And a very difficult boss would be a move, that, like I see here, that this breaks resistance noticeably. Something that would break this resistance noticeably is what I would call the difficult boss within it. And let's move on to the daily. And within this, it's been this little sideways range that we have within this market right now. It's at the upper end of this portion. It's holding this 18 average well, so I'm really liking the bullish signs. It's almost like an inverted head and shoulders kind of pattern. It most certainly has this 18-ish to 19 area as a huge, even up to this whole level area to 20. 18 to 20, huge resistance area. Next up is the, this is a NAV coin that should be fixed. And there we have it. So NEOS coin. And we're looking at the daily time frame. And 15 obviously was the level of resistance that it encountered 3 times within this entire correctionary phase. Able to break it, and now 15 up to 26, back down to 23. And it only took like 3 days to break to this point. Let's do some math here. 15 on over 26. What's 26 subtract 15? That's like grade 2 math, I think. The answer is 11. Okay, let's do a few grades higher, maybe grade 5 math. 11 divided by 15. Oh, a calculator, I mean 0.8ish or so. Yeah, 80% gain from breakout in just a few days. And that's the daily chart. Let's look at the weekly. And basically, it's wholly SHIT kind of deal because it is just having one heck of a ride higher. It's wow, and definitely overextended to say the least. Definitely, but how much further up will this go? And just looking at the trend lines, and this is, I don't know how I'm going to draw this, but okay, let's redo it. Okay, there we go. Let's draw a trend line to the correct rate of ascent. Oh, I mean, it's kind of doing very well with what has now been 3 good consecutive, if not even 4 good consecutive up weeks in a row, but it's something I still don't want to chase at this point. Moving on to Namecoin, and here's a situation on the daily chart where it comes up to this level as far as its last key high, some decent consolidation, and we can see in here that we've had a break above that band a few sessions ago. And here, with some consolidation on the break, 2 good green candles up, and so far a pause sideways move. Look at the weekly now. And we can see it's been down a decent amount and in a rebounding situation. Where it was before, what was the key big support in the previous year or years even on its origin? Here, and even a little bit here. Okay, let's draw a little rectangle because that's easy to do. Connect these areas. And there we have it. Situation. What is it? Situation is it came up to it on its previous high to where it was. Back to correctionary phase, leaving correctionary phase within a solid uptrend on the band, which means it looks like it could easily have a test of previous high. Price action in at 123 with the move to 175.2. That's a good small trade, which would be big just doing the stock market games for most codes. But then breaking above that, okay, where was the key levels before? We'll just put another rectangle in since it's better than those squiggly non-straight lines. But to me, this looks like the approximate area to where it should make a push to if, of course, it can continue further. Let's move on to Nexium, NXC. Here's a situation after making it up to this high, correcting through price and definitely such through time for, I'm not going to say extended period, but definitely long enough of a period. Breakout of this resistance happening in the last couple of days, and today's session coming back to where it came from, as well as this 18 average. All right, so within this point, you could, if you're thinking it's going to be real, you got a not so bad price now. You could wait for a break of this resistance, and you could even try to maybe get a cheaper price by a little bit within this band, somewhere in the 12s. Of course, all that strategy is up to yourself, but this thing, which was supporting this previous resistance in here, we'll see, is it going to support this one here? NXT on the daily time frame, it's been in a consolidation pattern. You might maybe call it a bull flag. To me, it's barely within the band, but obviously break here is where you would expect some decent gains. You want to see good patterns leaving the band, so I wouldn't mind some further consolidation. If this thing has a fall and it breaks support, it's just an obvious place, for me anyway, where I stick my buy order, and that is definitely not north of 4,000 unless it's like 4,007 or something, barely north of it. But I'm not buying at 45 or 5,000. No way, Jose. I might even consider buying closer to 35, 36 because, I mean, it's not like when they go down, yeah, they can sometimes hit exactly in or around this level, but, you know, oftentimes they'll even go a little bit further, and I want to get the best deal that I possibly can if the situation happens. And you don't need to know if it's breaking down. You just need to put a buy order in and then look at it later. If the market breaks out higher, then you might as well destroy that buy order. Or if you really need a Bitcoins and they're tied up in your buy orders, maybe you cancel it. And let's move on to the next one. Looking at D notes, which we have a situation in here. This is code note, where it's had a very, very good up gain, breaking resistance, clear resistance at the 4 number. So obviously, if this thing ends up breaking down where you want to buy, well, 34 looks more attractive to me than 4,000, but that's where I would be buying, where it came from, and that's where it came from in here. As far as its pattern right now, after this decent decline, correcting right now within this 18 average, it's already established at least a little bit of resistance. However, for that to be more of a bigger key, I'd like to see this maybe go a little more sideways in here, or further downward movement, maybe find some support in this resistance area and then come up and break that area. But as it stands right now, I want no part of this other than putting a buy order down below here. And furthermore on it, it's the line where it's at now, price action. I don't need to draw a line because it's already in here on this line here. Oh, previous resistance from before. Well, maybe it'll break through it, and if it does, I'll talk about this in a bit. Maybe it'll have a big move. But what's more likely that it's going to have a big move higher, big move lower, and there's just a decent chance that this thing continue consolidating through time for a decent period. And as far as I was talking about before, about buying on the cheaper price, well, this would coincide within this rising 18 average as well. As when you reach previous high from a long time hit ago, and again, I'm not going to count this, then you oftentimes will resist it to some sort of degree. Now, within a move like this is why I talk about insane buy and sell orders, because if you had some sell orders here at, say, 3,000, and price action at the time is, 30,000 rather, and price is 2,000, how you doing just to get an insane gain of about 1,500, 1,300%, depending on where your sell order was? Even if you got it in here, that's insane enough. Oh, price action is 2,000 Satoshi, sell order 18,005 filled. Oh, how you doing kind of deal. That's why, you're hardly ever going to hit them for anything big, but if you have them in here on that time frame in 2016, you got it, plain and simple. So just something to consider and think about. Switch this over to Omni and OMNY. And on this daily time frame, big level of resistance. And oftentimes from failed moves can cause fast moves in the opposite direction. So when I would have been looking at this earlier, saying here, I would have been saying that, oh, watch out. If this thing falls down, it could be a decent size move down, because it said here that I'm ready to break out by having this move. Yeah, a little bit of consolidation's fine, but that's what it's telling me. Well, it corrected the area fine. So even though if you bought in here, you watched yourself go through losses, you're like, dang, man, I bought at, say, 109, and now the price action in here is like under 8, 7 even. I'm down 30%. Man, that sucks. And you hold and you hold. And, oh, by the way, I got my sell order filled. I had it at, say, 31. So I got my 200% gain that I was looking for. So how you doing kind of deal. Now, since it's higher, like I say, I don't want to buy when it's at 28 on the way up, but I do now. I do now because I want to see it consolidate. I want to see it correct, adjust the gains. And there it is, building up energy within this sideways consolidation. Now I see how it's breaking its established resistance within the correction, 18 average band rising, and it's breaking out of it. So that's an indication for me that I want to buy now. Guess what I did? I bought Omni today. And when I look at its weekly chart, well, let's see. How noticeable is the approximate area of around 1350, even up to 17? Well, it went above it. It came back to it. It came back to where it was, as I've stated so often recently. And it's breaking free higher. So, yeah, I think this has got good potential. Pascal coin, PASC. On its daily time frame, here's a situation where this previous resistance has been acting in the area of support. most recently, and in the meantime, level of resistance established within that area here. It's got no major signs of breaking out of the band, but it's got a nice bullish behavior. Don't be surprised if big green candles happen when it's ready to break this level higher. And now on to Pink. And when I think of this code, I think of Steven Tyler, Aerosmith, and that great 1997 song that's, for reasons personally, a very big song for me, one that I really, really love. Although I don't know if I love the setup too much. What do I see from this that I think is worth noting? Insane sell orders. Look at the move from here to here. I remember looking on Bittrex at the time saying, oh, Pink is supported, and look at the big move. Big move here, fall back. Big move here, fall back. Big move here, fall back. Even this is okay. Do you have sell orders in here if you own this? Because I sure as heck would. I don't own any of this, but if I did, I would definitely have some pretty high sell orders. Even insane ones much higher than this. But let's move on to the next code. Let's take a look at Potcoin, POT. And this level, I mean, it's drawn in on this red line, but support is where resistance was before. Still within this band. No attempt yet as far as breaking out towards it. And as far as the, well, let me just check another time frame out. And it's the weekly, and what more do I need to say in here? Insane sell orders. How you doing last end of summer? If you were buying here and you had sell orders up here, you sold well, and obviously you could take your profits and run. It was easy to buy back cheaper. I just hope you didn't sell here and buy back here. But with that being stated, since that huge move, beautiful consolidation, albeit very choppy. If you like the volatile choppiness, I mean, great swing trades available if that's what you're looking for, where you can easily buy and sell for 20-30% quick gains within this just swing trading back and forth. But here, after this consolidation, nice move up, notice the consolidation again. Trying to break through. Will this area of resistance be support? But wow, nice looking longer term chart on pot. And we'll make this the final one for this series, or for today. I'll do some more later on this afternoon or this evening. Again, I want another break after this because I enjoy taking breaks. All right. So within this situation in here, after this nice consolidation, beautiful move higher, or the entire run from March, going from a 00024 to 0016, so about a 7x gain. And look at the size of these moves, going from 160 down to like 60. So yeah, here's a 60% correction, decent size correction. Beautiful correctionary phase within the band in here after at the time, failed rally attempt, easy to say. Now a breach of that level. So I think ideally just right in here looks like a spot if it's going to go down further, where you might want to speculate, or where I'll be putting a buy order in anyway, roughly at around the 93, 91 or so area. But again, let's move this on to the weekly. And pattern recognition. I think you know what I'm going to say if you've been following my videos. Within this rally, into here, and what would it be doing right now, or what does it look like it's attempting to do? And that's leaving the band, attempting to go higher. Resistance has already been established in at the 16 or so number, 0016. So therefore, if this level gets taken out and we can just even put more of a decent line, that it's already had this resistance area within this point in here, that you would have to think somewhere up in this area, somewhere in the high 20 or mid 20s up to maybe around 40 or so, or somewhere in here on the situation of break of 16. basically. And that's why sometimes if you wait here to say buy, one of the key reasons why that can be an effective strategy is because, one, you got confirmation it's going to do that. If this thing isn't going to do it anytime soon, what most likely is going to happen is it's not going to breach this high. It's going to do whatever before it rolls over. So you're not buying now in that hope. And also, but buying in this point in here, when it breaks, you're looking for the move to be fast, because you wouldn't mind buying at that point and then selling within the week or two if possible. And instead of having to hold over and over and over and over again in a sideways, or even having to go through losses while you wait for the next big move, you're essentially trying to get in and out very fast by doing such. Well, here we are, 21 minutes almost, so this will be the end of the second part for today, and probably either later this afternoon or into the evening time, you can expect the chronological orders to continue. I don't think there's anything on the queue, but we'll be doing QRS. So Steam will be one of them, Radium, but whatever else I can find. Take care.